So welcome back to the SWAU's official channel and a Conversation with the Stars series. We've got a great guest this week. She has been on The Apprentice, and I'm talking about the movie, not the series. The Umbrella Academy, The Boys, so many to mention. But we have got this guest here this evening to talk about a new movie called Taken at a Basketball Game, which is a true story, which is shocking to think. And I'm going to present her onto the channel and do my best. It's Moni Ogunsuyi.
Yes.
Oh, is that right? I do
You got it
apologize. But Moni, thank you so much for giving me your time and coming onto the channel. It's an absolute joy to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me, Bryan.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. And we're going to start off with something I read, which I was quite astonished with, really, is that you originally considered becoming an animator. So what was it that ultimately pulled you from that towards the industry of acting?
Actually, it was like, so I'm of Nigerian descent. So if you know anything about Nigerian parents, that would not fly. So you either have to become like a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer. And I did not become any of those. Basically what happened was eventually I just decided to try out modeling and try out pageants. And through that, I was able to connect with one of the pageant sisters who said, "Why don't you try background acting?" And I was like, "No, I'm good with modeling and pageants." That was going to be my thing. And I was humbled because I did not go that far. And within a year, I was like, okay, like, let me just try background to see what happens. And within 2.5 months, I was upgraded on a set called Disney Zombies. And it was the producer, Effie Brown. She was the one who gave me my first line. And after that, I was like, you know what? Let me just see. Let me just see what happens here. I kind of do wish I explored the animator side. I still do art here and there, but that's how I was able to transition from that to acting.
And zombies, I've got to say, we have seen these films. I mean, I've got two small girls, so literally they're obsessed with those franchise of movies. I mean, you've spoken about, in media about overcoming a challenging home life. So how did these experiences, shape your resilience and determination within the entertainment industry?
It just gave me a sense of not giving up. As much as I wanted to, as much as I almost tried to, there was always that fighting kind of like aspect to me. Like I just kept telling myself like, and I always repeat this to myself, like I didn't leave home early to be depressed. Like I didn't leave home early to just kind of like throw away my life. Like I at least need to try. Like I need to kind of fulfill the dreams of like my younger self. Like when I ran away, it was like I didn't know where I was going to go. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know. I just didn't know, but I was like, this isn't it for me. This isn't it. So when I apply that to acting, it's like I do have moments where I want to give up. I do have moments where I feel like I don't know what's going to happen, but there's always that like kind of little part, but it's really strong. But that little part that's like, just keep going and see what's going to happen. Just keep going. You won't regret it. You know?
Isn't it a great thing though, where you're, where you are now, looking back and looking back at all those decisions that you made to mold this life that you've got now? You must be so proud of yourself to overcome things. And when you hear people having issues and problems, knowing that if you persevere and actually, take the bull by the horns, as they say, you can almost do anything that you want.
Yeah, you'd be surprised like how far you can go with just believing in yourself. I think it says like in the Bible, like all you need is a mustard seed. That's literally all you need. And at points, all I had was even smaller than that. It was a grain of salt of hope, like that small. That small left a fight in me, but that was enough to still push forward. Like there were moments where I didn't know what I was going to eat. I didn't know where I was going to go. I didn't know what was going to happen. All of this, I'm in high school. like was in my late teens, early 20s. But like, if you were to tell me back then this was the life that I was going to have now, I probably wouldn't have believed you because
Mm.
I was like, how? But there was that small part that would have been like, yeah, sure, for sure, I'll get it, And I think that's that little small part. Sorry, that little small part is what we have to believe in, honestly.
I mean, do you feel that having that sort of upbringing and that those difficult decisions, do you think that's
Hmm.
changed the way that you approach your career now? Because you get a lot of
Yeah.
actors out there that, I would say was born with a silver spoon in their mouth. Do you know what I mean? They've come from a wealthy
Hmm.
background, and then you get actors like yourself. And I always say that you learn from struggle, you develop from
Yeah.
struggle, and it makes you I don't know, a better well-round person. I mean, do you feel that it's made you a different type of actor compared to others out there that may not have had the struggles that you have had in the past?
I think so. I definitely have. Instead of like most actors that I meet have more of a theater background, and
Mm,
so the way that they access their emotions is completely different from the way that I would access my emotions. So, like, I just pull from experience. I pull from what I've been through in my past. So, in a way, like, as traumatic as it was in that moment, I'm thankful for it because it helps me with getting to certain places. Like,
mm,
I don't think I would have been able to play Splendid had I not gone through what I've been through. Like, had I not seen the stuff that I saw, I can't speak sometimes, but had I not seen the things I saw from an early age, like, I don't think I would have been able to play Splendid. Like, I when I was younger, I did have a friend who fell into this world
mm,
and I got to witness it firsthand. So when I pulled a lot of the emotion, it was from that experience. And when I was building the character of Splendid, it was from that experience because I started off seeing my friend with who she really was. I saw a lot of the pain that she was going through, but and then I saw the mask that she was starting to build on
mm.
top, the persona that she was starting to build. And had I not gone through that, I don't think I could have played Splendid, if I'm being completely honest.
And we're going to explore Splendid in a moment and the awesome film that you're here to talk about. But I just wanted to find out because, in this industry, it can be quite cutthroat,
Yeah.
quite challenging. And you've done something similar beforehand, which was going for Miss Canada and Miss Universe. I mean,
Yeah.
my background, I've done performing arts, I've been on stage, and I've worked alongside a lot of dancers and performers, and how I know how sort of backstabby it can be. So
Hmm.
what was that like going for Miss Universe and Miss Canada, and what did you get from that you carry with yourself now, in the way of lessons?
You know what? Like I don't think I experienced some of the cattiness that you would have expected. There was a lot of politics within pageantry, which is crazy to think about, but I didn't experience I didn't experience the cattiness. Like I was kind of like hi like to everyone. Like I kind of was like in my own little world. It was great, but what I did do was I learned through hindsight's 2020. So what I did was I analyzed like what I had gone through, how it made me feel, and I realized that friendly competitiveness is fine. So if somebody else gets it, like the year that I competed in Miss Universe Canada, it was meant for Sierra Burchell. She won. She went on to place, I think it was top 10. So that was the first time in years Canada had placed top 10. And she did such an incredible job. So, what that taught me, like through pageantry, I learned that whatever's meant for you will find you because it found Sierra that year and she made history that year. So, that's what personally I learned. And I learned that, you know, like the pageant girls are amazing. They're such good people. Like some of them have gone on to become news anchors, some of them have gone on to start their own podcasts, some of them have gone on to be YouTubers. Like one of them I just recently learned opened up a hotel in Guatemala. Like they're all
Wow.
such people, honestly. Like, I think I lucked out.
That sounds awesome. I mean, when you decided to take this leap into the industry, did you have a plan in place? And what did that plan look like? And has it changed since?
Yes, it's changed. I did not have a plan. I was winging it. And I was just like, let me just see what happens here. I have nothing to lose. Let me just see. Because the pageantry and the modeling wasn't working out. So I was like, let me just see where this goes. And so I ended up signing with my agent. I ended up taking acting classes and I was booking. But what I had to reevaluate was, why am I doing this? Like,
Mm.
so I had to realize, like, back when I was 17, I was walking down this street called Clark Boulevard in Brampton, and I was thinking, I want to be something in entertainment. I don't know what. And I was like going down the list. Singer? No. It's not for me. Would I want to be a model? Yes, probably. Pageants? Yes. Acting? No, not good enough. But now that I was in the industry and I was in acting, I had to go back to that moment and remember why I wanted to do this to begin with. And that was because I wanted to show women, young girls, that no matter what your upbringing is, you can achieve anything. So from that moment, I knew I wanted to show that. It was just about actually showing it. And I think that once I got back to that it's been history. It's been honestly really great, and I feel blessed.
And looking at your IMDb credits, it is incredible to say that you said a moment ago, acting, no, I'm not that good at. You obviously are now, because literally you are making that list longer than my arm. And you've worked on such major shows like The Umbrella Academy, The
Mhm.
Handmaid's Tale, which my
Yeah.
wife has just got me into. She's forcing me
Yay.
to watch it. So I started with season one. So I'm already hooked. And The Boys. So, which project have you done to date that's really given you that pinch me moment, sort of to make you feel like, wow, I'm doing this and I'm actually really good at it?
Um, One of the I would say mini series that I did. It was called For the Record. It was my first supporting lead role, and I was going through something similar as the character. So I remember being on set, and I was in the middle of my pretty much monologue, and I was like, this is really happening. Like, this is really happening. And because I was going through so much at that time, and I just was able to pour it all into my work. And I just remember feeling like, oh my goodness, like there's no way. Like, this is crazy. And the miniseries ended up doing really well. It was nominated for a lot of awards, and I'm so thankful that I was able to be on that, because that gave me the confidence boost that I needed to continue to go and keep pushing. So
That's awesome. And then let's talk about what you're actually here to talk about, which is, opposite DB Woodside, which I've got to say is an incredible actor. He really, really is. I've loved his stuff for many years. So this is Taken at a Basketball Game, which is based on a true story. If you can give us a bit of a rundown of what the film is about and whom you play. You mentioned her a bit earlier on, but if you can go into more detail.
yes, so the movie is about a father who wants to rebuild a relationship that he has with his estranged daughter. And he thinks, why not just bring her to a basketball game? Let's bond. And unfortunately, what happens is during that game, she ends up getting kidnapped. And he doesn't know what's happened to her, he doesn't know what's going on, and he kind of goes into a panic. So, this entire movie is about him trying his hardest to get her back. Because this is my own take, I think he feels guilty for what just happened. And you get to see him like such a fighting father. Like, it's so amazing, the portrayal that DB gave for Wayne Edwards. It's great. And so where Splendid comes in is she actually teams up with DB to help him as much as she can given her circumstances, but she helps him to try and get his daughter back.
And I can't believe this is based on a true story. and
Yeah.
any films based on a true story, I think, already gets the audience in a bit more
Mhm.
because they
Yeah.
obviously realize that it's actually happening. I mean, what is it about Splendid that actually drew you to the character? Because I know that you mentioned about, someone that you knew that you based the character on, but initially, what was it about the part that really, really said, you know what, I've got to do this part?
Well, when I initially got the audition, I was like, you know what? This is so different from anything that I have ever done. And I just wanted to try and see what I could bring to this role. It was going to be a challenge for me, but I just thought I'd try. So Splendid was written a certain way in the beginning. She was a bit more like her mask was a bit grander. But you know what happens in pre-production is they figure things out and then they go in a certain direction. But in the beginning, I was like, let me lean into the mask that she's built for herself, and let me only show certain snippets of who she truly is as a person. And so it was the complexity of the character that was a challenge for me, and I just wanted to see if I could nail it. And when I booked it, I was like, this is amazing because I have a direct memory that I can pull from and build the character. And I wanted to try and be as respectful as possible to women who are in that circumstance.
I mean, is there a certain scene that you can, remember that you were, you're on set, you're doing the scene, and was there a time when you got taken back? Because I always admire actors because literally you're taking on technically someone else's personality. You're
Yeah.
taking on someone else's life and you're living that life for that moment
Mhm.
in time. And it must be quite difficult to shake that off after they shout cut. But was there a
Mhm.
time when, that you can tell us about that really took you by surprise? Like, I don't know, affected you more than you thought it would do?
Say that again, that last part.
So, a moment that affected you more than you thought it would do, in the way of like, because obviously it's series themes, is quite dark in places. So, were there
Mhm.
certain scenes that really affected you?
Yeah, there was a lot of scenes that really affected me. Like one of them, I probably can't say the exact scene because I don't want to give
Yeah.
spoilers. But one of them was I was playing opposite DB, and it was actually his emotion that was like, oh my goodness, this is a lot. Like you could feel his like sorrow for what was going on and his like anger and his pain. You could feel it. It was as if I was looking at an actual dad who was going through this situation. And so when it was like time for me, I used everything that I felt from him within myself to try and like bring what Splendid would be feeling in that moment. So it was a lot. Like there was a lot of heavy emotions in a lot of these scenes. There's a lot of heavy emotions, there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of grief, there's just a lot happening. I can think of so many moments. But yeah, there's one particular scene that we shot on the last day that I'm talking about, and the way that he's lit, like everything was just like perfect. And then I was able to watch back my coverage, and I was like, wow, like no wonder I feel really drained right now because it was just I had to like bring about so many emotions for that particular part. I wish I can like say more, but it would give
I
away like
know, I
the
know. It's very, very difficult. And then working with DB, it must be such a treat because he's such a veteran,
Mhm.
performer. I mean, was there any words of wisdom that came from his mouth to you? I mean, what was he like to work with? And is he as nice as we think he is from
Yes.
interviews? Yes.
He's so nice, like, and he like because there it was such a heavy topic, so sometimes I just wanted to like crack a joke, and he would let me like he was like he would go along with them. He would joke around too. He's actually like a really funny guy. He's really laid back. He gives a lot of advice, like, and it means a lot because I didn't realize I was watching him like on my TV screen. Like he was in The Temptations, he was in 24. My parents had those things playing like nonstop. So it was great. It was like a full circle moment to be getting advice and kind of like guidance from someone who's been in the industry for so long. He was amazing. And one of the things he did recommend was that he thinks every actor, well, maybe not every actor, but me, should try out theater because theater, he says, helps so much with like the projection of your voice, with like certain emotions. Theater is such like a great tool to have in your back pocket. And when you think about all the greats, a lot of them did do theater. So I think he's onto something, and I might give it a shot. We'll see. I don't know.
To be fair, though, I think that TV and film must be more difficult than theatre because if you think about it, in the theatre, you're in that
Mhm.
character for 3 hours. You're in that
Yeah.
character for 3 hours non-stop, and it is live, and the audience may not know the script, so it doesn't matter if you fumble a line. But
Mhm.
I suppose on TV and film, it can be more difficult. I mean, how do you get into character? So you getting ready to shoot. Do you walk around for a bit, like by yourself, or because someone said once that Anthony Hopkins, a massive actor, he could
Mhm.
literally swivel on a dime and actually go into character at a snap of a finger. So,
Mhm.
what's your routine in actually getting into the role of, say, Splendid?
So, what my acting coach had taught me was this method called a drop in. So, you think of a core thought. So, if the scene is like, let's say it's a random scene, maybe Splendid feels like everybody hates her. So, I would say, why am I so unlovable? And that's what I would repeat to myself to see what emotions it brews. And like, why can't someone just love me? Why am I so unlovable? And that's what I would like be repeating myself to myself all the time. So I could be having a conversation with someone, like pouring coffee, like joking around, but that's what's going through my head because I want that kind of, what we call it in class is chemical conflict. I want that kind of
Mm.
brewing and simmering at the surface, and I want to feel it right here. So whatever I need to feel in that moment, I would just create a core thought for it and allow it to just brew within me. So once they're like, okay, action, I can bring about those emotions because they're right here.
Excellent, excellent. Well, do you know what? I admire anything that actors like yourself do because to get into character like that, it can't be an easy thing. I mean, what with this film coming out, what sort of ride can people expect? What type of feelings are people going to experience? Are they going to be crying? What sort of experience are they going to expect?
I think it's going to be all of the above. I think they're going to be crying. There's moments in it that do have jokes. So, as serious as the topic is, there are a few little funny moments here and there. But I do think people will be moved. I hope they're moved. I hope they feel the anger that DB portrayed as, the father losing his daughter, the pain that the mom felt. LA Sweeney did such a good job with playing Robin's mother. Claire, like her fear, I think people are going to feel all the emotions that these characters felt. And by the end, I'm not going to spoil it. I just hope they really like the film.
Do you know what? I literally cry at anything. Honestly, my girls look at me thinking, "Why are you crying, Dad?" And I'm watching The Greatest Showman. So literally, I could, I'll get the tissues and a pillow ready. But a few more questions before we bid
Yeah.
farewell. I mean, you've done everything from thrillers to holiday films. Do you prefer drama, horror, or feel good movies? Which is your bag?
I love drama. Any like I just had a audition the other day. I think one was for Lifetime, the other one was for Hallmark. And for some reason, like before even looking at the network, I had already dramatized it. I was like, oh, like this is so heavy. And then my acting coach was like, what do you, it's the Hallmark. Like, what do you, do you know what I mean? I love drama. If I can turn anything into a drama, I will. That is like my bread and butter. That is what I feel like I do best in. But I do enjoy what I realized through working on like Chucky and working on, there's a production that's coming out this year where it is more of a horror. So I'm starting to realize I sort of like those too, but yeah, drama would be my niche. I think it's like my bread and butter.
And you say something coming out. I did read something, and I didn't know if this was coming out. So I don't know if my information is correct, but it's something to do with a clown.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because can I just say, Pennywise literally gave me a lifelong fear of clowns since I was a child, from the Tim Curry days. Literally anything. I couldn't even go to McDonald's when I was a kid. Honestly, Ronald McDonald,
yeah, 'cause he
creepy
looks-
as hell. Honestly, who would have a clown as a mascot? So yeah, so you're in that. I mean, obviously, I presume you can't really say anything else about
I can't
that.
say anything else.
No,
Yeah.
mum's a word. Mum's a word. So if you could star in any film with any actor opposite, who would it be?
Can I do two actors? Can I choose two?
Of course you can.
Angela Bassett and Denzel Washington. I will say that to time that I would absolutely love that. My life would be complete. I'd be like, okay,
two of my favorite actors, honestly. Angela Bassett, when she did the Tina Turner biopic, What's Love Got to Do with It? Amazing.
Yeah.
And Denzel Washington, I was only saying the other day that if I ever got a chance to interview Denzel Washington, I don't think I could ask any questions. I would just look at him in awe, because that guy is just anything. And the words that he says in interviews is just an inspiration. He's really
so
is.
Wise. Yeah.
I mean, he once said that if you don't read the news, you're uninformed. But if you read the news, you're misinformed. And
yeah,
I thought that's great. I thought that was absolutely perfection. And then obviously, if you weren't acting, because you are multi-talented. I know you were saying about singing earlier on and painting and everything like that. If you weren't acting, would you go and maybe do animation, or is there now a job, knowing what you know now in life, that you might want to put your hand to?
A part of me is like, I eventually want to like try, but I don't think I could give up acting. Like, I just feel like it's another artistic outlet that I didn't realize would be as fulfilling as art, and it is a form of art. It's just simply a different medium. So I don't know what, I might, like, if I wasn't doing acting, I might just be a gardener or something who paints on the side. Probably what I would do.
Gardening and painting are like my two worst things. I haven't got the patience for it. I'd rather pay someone to do it. But
my goodness.
I know my wife hates it. She really does. I'm not a DIY person. But Moni, thank you so much for coming on to the show. It's been an absolute pleasure. I know you've got a busy time doing loads of interviews. So hopefully we can have you back on again, maybe later on in the year when other things come out. And then we can actually talk about things, because I know what it's like having NDAs and not being able to talk about certain things. But thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been great. Thank you so much.